Red Zone Sports.bet. Wham, bam, thank you, Uncle Sam.
Hello there and welcome along to week 10 of Upping the Ante in association with RedZone.bet. I'm David Jennings and once again I'm joined by Mr. Cheltenham himself, Gavin Lynch, after a bumper weekend of action at Leopardstown. For the Dublin Race Festival, Gavin, how was it for you?
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? The quality was great, pity about the ground being good to firm, yes, and the chase track, so some of the runners came out, but I think overall for punters there was 15 races and there was 8 favourites won for the 2 days, so I think punters got the better of it. So.
And what Upping the Ante viewers want to know is, how was it for Gavin Lynch punting wise?
I did okay. I probably should be brought into the middle of the field up against a wall and shot because I didn't do things right. I won a few quid, but
it was a weekend that got away on you.
A little bit, yeah. Off you go was a bit of a help, all right, and one or two others like Classical Dream and that, but and we mentioned Sassy Diva last week, so. Yeah.
But you finished up rather than down.
I did, but not a fortune, no.
Okay, we're going to start off by reviewing the Dublin Race Festival, but just to let you know that you're getting 3 for the price of 1 this week on Upping the Ante. Gavin Lynch is not going to tip 1 horse for the Cheltenham Festival. He's not going to tip 2. He's going to tip 3 horses for the 2019 Cheltenham Festival. So you've got to stay tuned for later in the show to find out Gavin's next 3 tips for the Cheltenham Festival. So Gavin, the Dublin Racing Festival, there's only one place to start.
Yep.
Apple's Jade. Oh my God.
OMG, yeah, she was amazing, wasn't she? Wasn't
Incredible.
16 lengths and never looked in any danger. She's got an amazing technique at jumping a hurdle. She goes right, and then jumps it dead straight. So it's a small worry, I suppose, for Cheltenham, but she's brilliant. I think this year she's won the 4 races in total by 73 lengths.
Yes.
Sure, she has to be up there with Any Power and all those.
Is this the right race to go for?
100%. If he was going to go for the mare's hurdle, I was going to be so annoyed. I was never going to fly Ryanair ever again. I was going to get some placards and go over to Airside outside his office.
You're boycotting Ryanair?
Definitely. Because, to run her at 3:30 on the Tuesday instead of 4:10, it's just, it had to happen. She's deserves the price. She's there 2-1 at the moment, so she's got a great chance. It'll be interesting if Bouverdare can't run something against her up front, perhaps.
Now, a lot of people are saying Apple's Jade, maybe she's obviously better over further. But in a champion hurdle, in a strongly run race, do you think she's going to be able to cope with that speed test?
I do. At all stages in Leopardstown, she was a winner. Even at the second last, would say, sure. If you look at Faugheen, he was a stayer and he won it from the front. So Bouverdare has already been beaten by another mare, Verdana Blue at Christmas. So she definitely has a great chance, yeah.
Right now, if Gavin Lynch was having a bet on the champion hurdle, who would he be backing?
I'd let my heart rule my head and just go with Apple's Jade just out of patriotism, and it'd be great to see another mare win the champion hurdle.
I agree. 2 votes for Apple's Jade in the champion hurdle. Moving on to the Irish Arkle, and Gavin, one of your best picks so far in the series was Laurishberg. Unfortunately, it was for the JLT, but he keeps doing his stuff, and he was pretty good on Saturday. Yeah,
he's brilliant. He's a fantastic jumper. He's got great scope. He will love the Arkle because the way in the Arkle they always go a mental gallop. He'll love that because he travels so strongly and jumps so well, so he has to be favoured at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to argue. He should be favoured. 4-1 Laurishberg, 9-2 Layler, Kalashnikov 13-2, Silas Emery 13-2, Dynamite Dollars 13-2, 12-1 Bar. Is he the most likely winner?
He probably is, yeah. I think Kalashnikov runs next weekend
in the Kingmaker Warwick.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. But Lawler, as we know, got well beat at Sandown, so Laurishberg and also Silas Emery. So all of a sudden Ireland has a decent chance in that, whereas maybe 6 weeks ago we looked like we would never run it.
Imagine, just rewind maybe 5 months, and imagine we put up the Arkle market at the start of February. This would be it. Laurishberg is favourite.
Yeah.
Lawler, Kalashnikov. We'd be scratching our heads wondering what's going on. It's a strange sort of Arkle this year, but these horses have improved massively for going over fences.
Yeah, and it's another fancied one for Joseph O'Brien. He's having an amazing season.
He certainly is. Now, moving on to the Ladbrokes Dublin Chase, it was a cakewalk for Min, of course, and we had no footpad, unfortunately. We didn't really learn a lot about Min. Unfortunately, there was a sad postscript to the race with Special Tiara, unfortunately, losing his life, and what a great servant he was. But Min, is this the most underrated horse in Willie Mullins' yard?
Normally he'd be a super horse. He could have won a Supreme, he could have won a Champion Chase only for the great Altior that we have. He's very, very good. Could be the 2nd, 3rd or 4th best chaser
in training.
I know waiting patiently is 170, but I think Min is like 167, so he's definitely high up there. Will they go for the Champion Chase or the Ryanair? I suppose nobody knows. They'll probably split footpad and himself.
And over 2 miles, who's the better horse, Min or footpad?
Min at the moment.
Over 2.5 miles, who's the better horse, Min or footpad?
Probably Min at the moment.
Yeah.
You'd worry obviously about the trip from Min over 2.5,
Yeah. The first Grade 1 on Saturday was the Natalia Lacey and Partner Solicitors Novice Hurdle, and it went the way of Commander of Fleet, who restored his reputation. Had it dented a little bit in the Royal Bond, but over this longer trip, he looked a different proposition. But they think Battle Over Diane is much better.
Yeah, well, Commander of Fleet, I'd say, will end up in the Bartlett. It was 2-6 the other day. He wasn't stopping. They took out the last hurdle because of the low sun. But if you look at him in the Land Rover bumper, then winning his maiden hurdle, got beaten in the Royal Bond, as you say, over 2 mile. This 2-6 was his trip, so 3 mile won't be a problem. Battle Over Diane will go here, and Commander of Fleet will go for the Bartlett. Okay,
and of the two at the top of the market, Champ, Battle Over Diane, who would your preference be?
Champ.
Yeah, Champ for me too. Moving on to Sunday, of course, Gavin, we did speak on last week's show. I said that Bellshill would win the Irish Gold Cup and that he would be second favourite for the Gold Cup behind Presenting Percy. I got one leg of the double up. Just about. A short head was all that separated Bellshill and Road to Respect in what was obviously a disappointing race, numbers wise. Yes. The finish probably made up for it a little bit.
It did. It's a pity Alboom Photo didn't take part because of the ground, but with only 4 runners, it's disappointing, but sure, it was a fantastic finish.
Can either of them win the Gold Cup?
I backed the runner-up.
Sorry about that,
I don't think so. I just don't think they'll be good enough. It's a very, very good Gold Cup this year.
Okay.
Clondazobo, Ken by Presenting Percy, Native River. It's
would
a fair race.
Would you have Bellshill or Road to Respect in your top 3?
Don't think so. Maybe Road to Respect if the ground was quick, but he'd want to jump a lot better than he did on Sunday.
I think you're still underestimating Bellshill a little bit. The Flow Gas Novice Chase, Lebagawa, she's just knows how to win. 14 out of 19, her second Grade 1. She's beaten top of the game. She's beaten Santini. She's beaten all the best novices in Britain. She's even beaten Lost in Translation. Her form really stacks up. Would Delta Work have beaten her if he ran?
Possibly. The one thing you'd have to say about the race, it was actually 8 seconds slower than the handicap chase won by Whisper in the Breeze. So he obviously went slow in front and then quickened, say, at the second last. She's a fantastic horse, but Warren Great Tracks keeps saying she needs a flat track, so she may not appear in Cheltenham.
And this is up in the Ante. This is the road to Cheltenham.
Exactly.
And she's not going to Cheltenham.
Probably not.
So let's not take up time.
And also
with
afterwards, Dickie Johnson said that she felt very tired afterwards, so she might need a break.
Absolutely. Now moving on to the spring juvenile hurdle, and if Apple's Jade was oh my god, Sir Eric wasn't far behind in the whole blown away territory.
Yeah, it was
this
brilliant.
was really good, and his jumping was fantastic.
Yeah, the first 3 maybe was a little bit sticky, tiny bit, but after that, the third last, second last, and the last, he was very quick over them. He's a high class horse. He's still a full horse. He's a colt, which is interesting over hurdles, but
that'd be so or no?
Well, he'd want to be lifting them, wouldn't he?
Yeah. He wouldn't want to be too well endowed, would he?
You wouldn't want to be jumping low, but he's got a great chance. He looks a serious horse, as we know he is from the flat. We might talk about him later on, but...
Oh, is that a clue, Gavin?
Possibly.
Is that a clue? And finishing up the other Grade 1 at the weekend was the Chanel Farman Novice Hurdle, and Classical Dream fought back to beat Araman. Another thrilling finish.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Ruby Walsh after the race, and he seemed to think that Classical Dream was more improvement to come on softer ground. It was a good performance, not a brilliant performance,
No.
Good performance.
Yeah, it was good. Maybe he probably went further, I'd say, in time. He looked like a stayer. Araman looked like more gears going to beat him, and then he fought back, so he could possibly end up in a Ballymore or a Supreme.
Did anything else catch Gavin Lynch's eye this weekend?
In terms of Cheltenham, I suppose Envoy Allen was impressive enough in the winner's bumper. He won by a length and a quarter from Meticulous, so he'd have to have a chance. Off You Go, of course, won the handicap hurdle, £20 higher than a
Surely
year
had
ago.
something on that.
I'd something small. So now he's up to mid 140. Sorry, he won off 143, so he's probably up to 150. I could see him maybe end up in a Coral Cup because he looks like he needs further.
I've got the Coral Cup winner later in the show.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, we've seen so much Grade 1 action over the last 2 days, okay?
Yes.
The Cheltenham markets are starting to take shape.
Yes.
But people are kind of saying, it's still 5 weeks to Cheltenham, there's still plenty of time to go, but you've got some brilliant stats that tells people that we've seen all the evidence already.
We've seen most of the evidence that we need, yeah. At this day last year, 20 of the 28 runners had run their last race before Cheltenham.
Wow.
And after next Saturday, 24 of the 28 winners had run.
So only 4 horses that won at last year's Cheltenham Festival hadn't ran
by next Saturday. So there was 4 horses that won after the 10th of February, we'll say last year. Q-Star Civila, Presenting Percy, who had the interest in prep last year, Delta Work and Blow by Blow. And
so 3 of them were handicappers?
Yes, exactly. And only 1 was a Grade 1 horse that had won a Grade 1. And also of the 7 horses won at the Dublin Race and Festival last year, but actually only 3 of them had won at the Dublin Race and Festival. The others got beat and went on to win at Cheltenham.
You're wrong. 8 horses won. 8 horses that ran the Dublin Racing Festival, 1 at the Cheltenham Festival. Who knew Gavin Lynch would get something wrong?
My God.
Can you name the 7? And I'll tell you which one is wrong.
The 7.
Sam Crow,
I have them here.
Footpad, Relegate,
Right.
yeah.
Go on, yeah.
The Storyteller,
Yeah.
Ratfinden,
Yeah.
that's 5. Farcla, 6.
Yes.
I'm missing 2. I'm going to leave out the one that you forgot.
What's the one I forgot?
The one you forgot is Blueberry.
No.
You have Blueberry?
I have, yeah.
And there's one more.
No.
There is. There's one more.
The 7.
No, there's 8. I'll find you the 8.
Okay.
Don't worry. So, you think this year probably, have we seen many Cheltenham Festival
Oh, the
winners?
chances are, going by that stat, you've seen most of them, yeah. So, I mean, after next Saturday, don't be afraid to have a bet. I mean, also, I suppose horses won the last day. For horse that won the 18 non-handicap race at Cheltenham, 11 had won their previous start, so that's something to keep an eye on as well.
Okay, wow. That is
Recent
a,
good form
that is a
is
very
good.
good stat.
Yeah.
So we're going to take some questions from the crowd now, Gavin, and the first of these is from Lee Vigano, who says, loving these vids, but Mr. Jennings, tuck your shirt in, son. Follow Mr. Lynch's example. So you know what I've done? I've tucked my shirt in. So I'm listening to you, Lee. Second question is from Jacob Pickering. Was a trials day, had 100 quid on Paisley Park at 7-2, thought he was the best horse in the race, but to win by that margin was incredible. Is he the Stayers Hurdle winner?
He's definitely deserves to be favoured. I like Penn Hill, but he's a massive danger. He comes off the bridle like he did the last day coming down the hill. He stays forever. He's 4 from 4 this season. He's a huge improver, so great chance.
Okay, Liam Allison wants to I was going to say wants to know, but he wants to be Gavin Lynch. He says, I aspire to be Gavin Lynch. Great show every week. He wants to be like you, Gavin.
Well, that's fairly sad. If he saw me chipping and putting, he wouldn't say that.
No, you're not too bad of a golfer. Holden says, good show, lads. If Blue Sari, Malone Road, Envoy Allen and Andy Dufresne all ran in the Cheltenham bumper, who would you back and why?
It's a very tough question, but they're the only 4.
Like that question.
Yeah, it's a good question. They're the only 4 bumper horses in the last 6 months that would really excite you, aren't they? Now, Gordon Elliott trains 3 of them, so obviously Malone Road's not going to make it. So you're down to 3. Very, very tough decision.
Okay, I'm going to change the question around a tiny bit. If you could buy any of those 4 horses, who would you buy?
Malone Road.
Okay, I'd go for Envoy Allen. Also, DJ, what happened to Fury Road? Keep Fury Road in your tracker, don't worry. Fury Road will come good. Aaron C wants to know, Gavin, what did you think of your favourite horse in training that you haven't mentioned yet? Off you go. Yeah. He was superb. He is a graded horse in the making. Would you fancy him for either the county hurdle? Would you fancy him for the county hurdle at Cheltenham?
He was brilliant the other day. He was the first horse, I think, in 20 years to win that race carrying more than 11-1. He carried 11-5, so it was a huge performance. And where he was 2 out, he was back like in 14th or 15th. He stayed on really well. I think maybe he needs to step up and trip at this stage because he's got such a high rate. And I could see him maybe running the Coral Cup.
If he won the Coral Cup, there'd be tears in your eyes.
There would.
Yeah. Ewan Ross says, great show, guys. Does Clan de Zobo have a chance in the Gold Cup?
He does, yeah. Sure, any King George would have to have a chance. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, beating Thistlecrack is good form, yeah.
Okay, I'd be lukewarm, maybe 6
you?
or 7, yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I just don't know if he's good enough.
He hasn't done it twice yet?
No, he hasn't. He's a bit in and out. Okay, so there are our questions from the crowd. And now we've got some questions from Kane Calvin from our sponsors, RedZone.bet. And the first of those, Kane, is after all the Cheltenham clues at the Dublin Racing Festival, what has attracted the most support with RedZone for the festival next month?
So we've seen some action for the 2 JP McManus horses. That's Sir Eric for the Triumph Hurdle and Larishborg for the Arkle. Prior to the weekend, both races lacked obvious favourites, but in winning the 2 key Leopardstown races, these horses have set a high benchmark on the rest of the field.
Okay, and the second question for you, Kane, is what is the biggest price RedZone have laid Apple's Jade at for the Champion Hurdle, and how big of a loser is she for you in that race?
So we haven't actually laid her, and she's not a big loser in our book, and we're delighted with that, really. All season, those people asking her to run in a proper race instead of the mares have been hoping she'd go to the Stayers, and we've seen a few bets on that, but the Champion Hurdle as a target didn't really seem to be an option for many people, so it's not been of interest to punters.
Okay, so we might have more Cheltenham clues this weekend. We'll come to that in a second.
Yes.
But away from Leopardstown, we did see some Cheltenham contenders Sandown on Saturday, Gavin.
Saturday in Sandown, Dallas won the 2 mile handicap chase by 4 lengths of 149. Is now 16-1 giant favourite for the Grand Annual. Bouverdare was reasonably impressive. It was 5s on to be Vision to Flow, beat by a couple of lengths. It was just nudged out, so it was a grand prep, I suppose.
It was like turning back time. It's just exactly what he does every year in that race.
Yeah. Defi Desai I thought was impressive. Barry gave it, for me, the ride of the weekend.
What a ride.
Yeah.
Water.
But to take a pull just after they turned in, was a ballsy thing to do, wasn't it?
And it looked like he got a kick out of it. Just passing the line, there was the kind of little Garrity.
It was like the Garrity of old, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a fantastic ride.
So he was very good.
Like the way Defi Desal jumps, he lands running.
Yeah, no, he's a cracking horse. He was a top hurdler in his time. Again, we have to talk about him later on. Andy Dufresne won a bumper on Tuesday in Downright, so he'll go to Cheltenham. It's even worth a mention of a horse called CW. He's age 16. He was second on Tuesday after being second on Saturday.
Yeah,
now, he
unbelievable.
ain't going to Cheltenham, but he deserves a mention. Last Monday, Nicky won 3 races in Kempton. Precious, Cargo, On the Blind Side, and Pim may go to Cheltenham, probably not good enough. A couple of horses I forgot to mention last week. Frodon, who'd won the Cotswold Chase. The one thing about him is that he's going to guarantee that the Gold Cup is going to be run at a proper gallop this year. Native River and himself will be up the front. So, and one other horse I didn't mention last week was Glenlow, who I think has been set up for a handicap. Maybe the Kim Muir with Derek or Jamie.
Well, he got a mark of 144 going over to Plumpton, which was a clever move, I thought, by Gordon, going over to that race against Master Dino and Knockanoose, who obviously fell at the weekend. But he just has Close Brothers written all over him, but he probably wants a little bit further.
I think the
Close Brothers is not to 145.
Yeah.
But do you think 3 Mile 2 in the Kim Muir would suit?
Yeah, well, he was only just chinned in the Pretemps last year by Delta Work, so nothing wrong with that for him.
And that run of Ferry House was relatively eye-catching.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder,
I was going to say Stevie Wonder texted me, yeah. And the last one to mention is the Stand Up and Fight got beaten at point-to-point at Kilfeacle there 8 days ago.
Oh.
And
only real Cheltenham experts would spot that now.
Yeah, it was one of the lads in the Racing Post office told me. But they haven't even moved his price. You'd imagine he'd drift him out, but they don't seem to in Cheltenham.
No. They probably don't know.
Probably
don't know, yeah. Now this weekend we're going to see, later this week, Huntington on Thursday, Angel's Breath, Supreme Novice Hurdle favourite, going to be run at Huntington. Do you think he deserves to be favoured for the Supreme?
Not on form, no. The Ascot race hasn't worked out well at all. A friend of mine knows somebody, Nicky Henderson's, and they say that they love him, so it'll be interesting, yeah. Like he went straight into a grade 2, so it was a good performance, but he doesn't deserve to be 92 favourite or 5-1 favourite, no.
Definitely not. Native River against Clan de Zobo, potentially in the Denman Chase on Saturday?
Yeah, it depends on the ground. If it's goodish ground, I'd go for Clan de Zobo.
And Kalashnikov in the Kingmaker at Warwick. You just haven't really been blown away by Kalashnikov.
No, I just wonder how they won't consider I hope they don't, but it's a wonder they don't consider the JLT from. He looks like a horse that would step up a trip very well, isn't he?
You're beaten narrowly in a Supreme and you've won a Betfair hurdle. I think he's enough pace.
The Betfair hurdle's on Saturday as well.
Yeah, do you like anything in that?
Maybe Al Dancer, who was wicked impressive the last day, but
He hasn't been lost in the market anyway. He's favourite at the moment.
He's favourite, yeah.
So that is this weekend, and this is probably the final weekend. As you said, 24 out of 28 horses. By this time next week...
Yes, they'd have ran their last race last year,
okay. I think that's very important to note. So moving on to the most important part of the show. This is why everybody tunes in, Gavin.
Yeah.
It is our next selections for the 2019 Cheltenham Festival. And because you've lost the run of yourself. You've completely lost the run of yourself.
Gone mental.
It's like as if before Christmas everything was going wrong. You were down in the dumps. You were depressing me talking to you. Now you're cheering everybody up. You can't wait for Cheltenham, and you've got 3 tips.
Well, the last 2 weeks,
Cheltenham
it's
Festival.
really you should always trust Cheltenham. It always comes good, but since Gorham Park right through to the weekend, it's been fantastic. 10 or 12 days for racing.
It has. So we're going to add 3 to your portfolio.
Yes.
And the first of those is in the Supreme Novice Hurdle. And I'd say if viewers at the moment are trying to guess what you're going to put up for the Supreme Novice Hurdle, I'm going to give them about 10 seconds to try and guess, okay?
No, they won't guess.
If they're going to guess, I would say maybe 5% of the people watching will guess, because this is left field. You're taking a chance.
Yeah.
This is why you are our Cheltenham expert.
I don't think I'm taking that much of a chance, but I think he'll end up on the day half the price than he is now.
Okay,
so.
half the price. So take this price. It is 11-1 with redzone.bet for the Supreme Novice Hurdle, the Cheltenham Festival.
I said it to you last week, and I'm not saying it again. Fakar Dudery.
Fakar Dudari.
Yeah.
There's people looking at their screens at the moment. They're going, what? This horse is favoured for the Triumph Hurdle. What's going on?
No, I think he'll end up here. I don't think Joseph will run this horse against Sir Eric.
Okay.
I think they believe Sir Eric to be a better horse.
And if he is a better horse, how can he win the Supreme Novice Hurdle?
Well, he's going to be getting £8 from the older horses.
Binocular couldn't do it.
No, he couldn't. But how many horses have won the Supreme Novices Hurdle as a 4-year-old? It's a tricky question. I'm not expecting you to get the right answer.
2.
8.
Oh, wow.
The last one was in 99, Horlois, etc. So anyway, Fakar Dudery 5 times ran last year in France, including twice over fences. Beat older horses in Cork and it's maiden hurdle, so that's kind of relevant. Then it bolts up in Cheltenham by 13 lengths there 9 days ago. In a very quick time, it was 3 seconds quicker than the handicap hurdle. He's a good horse. He's going to be getting the £8. I think he's got a great chance. If he shows up here, he's going to be a 6-7 to 1 shot.
He jumps hurdles like you drive golf balls. He is flawless.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant jump performance at Cheltenham.
Yeah, he jumped fantastic. He doesn't have to lead. He sat second for some of the race beside Ajali, and then he took it up. I just think getting the £8, he's going to have a massive chance. There's nothing really that has lit many fires in that race, is there?
I think there is. Mr. Fisher. He's not in the bet.
Oh yeah, you tipped him up, yeah.
I think he's a proper horse. But Fakir Dudare, 11 to 1. Would you be advising people to take that now? Because this price could plummet.
Yeah, I think that hopefully Joseph announces in the next week or two that he's going here, but obviously if something happens for Eric, he'll go back to the Triumph, but I just think he'll separate them.
Well, hopefully Joseph is watching the show. He's a keen
sure,
admirer of your work, Gavin.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll take the advice. Fakir Dudare for the Supreme, 11 to 1. Your second selection is slightly more obvious. It's from the same stable. It's the same age.
Yes.
And it is Sir Eric for the Triumph Hurdle. Now,
Sure,
Gavin,
he
you
looks-
must be sure to put up a horse at this price on Upping the Ante 5 weeks before the Cheltenham Festival. You must be sure this is the real deal.
I think he's a jet, yeah.
A jet.
A jet, yeah.
Jumbo jet.
He's not a horse, he's a jet.
Okay. Explain why 9 to 4 people should be back in this
Because I
horse
think
now
if
for this.
Fakir Dudare does go to the Supreme, which I'm hoping, then I think obviously he's going to be short because Fakir Dudare is second favourite. So he'd only 5 runs in the flat. He won a listed race in Limerick on soft to heavy ground. So if the ground turns up soft at Cheltenham, it's actually an advantage. 7 days later, he went to Ascot. He was third to Stradivarius and Thomas Hobson even. That was a great run against older horses. His flat rating is 109, but he looks a natural over hurdles. The last 4 or 5 in Leopardstown, he was fantastic.
Especially the last.
Yeah, no, he winged it, didn't he? He's, as we said, he's a full horse. He could end up being a stallion someday, you never know.
He could, yeah.
And the other thing is, at Christmas, he only beat Tiger Tap Tap and Neck. And the other day, yesterday, it beat at 8 lengths. So he's obviously improved a lot.
Now, people are going to be saying to themselves, sure, I may as well wait till the day to back Sir Eric.
He'll be shorter.
9 to 4. What price do you think he's going to go off?
It depends if Fakir Dudare affects off to the Supreme.
Nice little pun there.
Yeah, I'd say he could be a 5 to 4 shot in the day.
Wow. So there you go.
And normally the Triumph Hurdle is an open race, but like last year, you had a very sharp price favourite.
So now is the time to take 9 to 4 and bet a 5 to 4 shot in the JCB Triumph Hurdle. It is Sir Eric, and you're sticking with these green and gold colours, Gavin, for the JLT Novices Chase, and it is former Triumph Hurdle winner Jeffrey Desai.
Yeah. 7 over 7 at the time as a juvenile, ended up 157, having bolted up in the Triumph. Last season was a wipeout, he was terrible. This season he's had the 4 runs over fences, last to 5 till all, our first time. Then at Exeter, he beat Top of the Game, who missed the break by 15 lengths. I think Top of the Game is probably his biggest danger.
Yeah, so do I. I hope he goes for this race.
Yeah, there's 50-50 between the JLT and the RSA. So on the chance that Top of the Game goes to the RSA, I'm going to fancy Jeffrey Desai. It was second to Lost in Translation. Now don't forget it was given at £3 that day, which is...
Traded incredibly short in the run.
Well, Barry took it up, say, at the bend. Yeah. He joined him at the bend, took it up 2 out. The race was over and the other horse fought back. Whereas on Sandown on Saturday, brilliant ride. They turned in, he took a pull, gave him a couple of lengths to bide his time. Barry will need balls of steel, but I think Barry is getting back to his old self. I think he's riding well. It's the new track. I think if he holds it up just for the last moment, he'll beat Lost in Translation again.
It could be like a York Hill-esque ride, could it?
Yeah, correct. I just don't think the JLT is brilliant this year.
No, it's certainly not. That price enhanced to 6 to 1 from 5 to 1 with redzone.bet for Upping the Ante viewers. And my selection this week is going to be a horse that ran at the Dublin Racing Festival. It's going to be a horse that was beaten at the Dublin Racing Festival. It is Uradel, who finished 5th in the Labrooks Hurdle. I thought it was a lovely, lovely run.
Okay.
I know he was sent off favourite. It was the inside track at Leopardstown.
Yes.
A tight 2 miles. And I just thought he was tapped for toe at a crucial stage. Stayed on to finish 5th. It was a lovely run. These colours were carried to victory in the race last year by Blueberry, who finished 17th in the race actually. But Uradel, he was beating a neck in the Cesar, which in Newmarket off a mark of 94 on the flat. That's over 2 mile 2 at Newmarket. So I think 2 mile 5 at Cheltenham should be right up his street.
He travelled like the winner that day in Newmarket too.
He certainly did, yeah. He's rated 102 in the flat now. He's rated 132 in Ireland. So everybody is going to be saying, the big thing is, will he get into the race? Well, I think he will, because I think he'll probably get a mark of maybe 137 in
enough?
England. I think it will be, because mischievous Max was the lowest rated in the race last year off a mark of 135. And in 2017, Bravissimo and Sure Reef got into the race off 136.
Okay.
So I think he's going to be rated a pound or 2 higher than that.
And worst case, he'd get into the Martin Pipe, I suppose.
Worst case, which will be no good for Upping the Ante viewers
No, I know
now.
that.
But if he does get into the Coral Cup, 20 to 1 I think is a massive price, because if he does get in, I think he'd be sent off favourite. The Ruby factor, the Willie factor, I think this horse is well handicapped, and I think he could have potentially a stone in hand, Gavin.
A stone.
A stone in hand. So there you go, folks. Gavin's 3 tips again. Facu de Dare for the Supreme, Sir Eric for the Triumph, Tefi de Sol for the JLT, and my own one. I'm just sticking with one this week, Gavin. It is Uradel for the Coral Cup.
And for Liverpool to beat West Ham tonight.
Oh, hopefully Liverpool will beat West Ham tonight.
Please God.
Yeah, and hopefully people are watching later in the week will be saying Liverpool are 5 points clear again.
Hopefully.
So that's it for week 10 of Upping the Ante. Don't forget to join us next Monday when there'll just be 4 weeks to go to the 2019 Cheltenham Festival.
Red Zone Sports Actor. Wham, bam. Thank you, Uncle Sam.